Warning. This is D&D. It might get sexual or violent. Keep that in mind. Viewer discretion is advised. Hello, welcome back to Everweave. So, I kind of cheated in the last episode. I didn't have Action Search, even though it let me use Action Search. I thought I had Action Search. That's evident by, I wonder what I get at level 2, so I apologize for that. I will try and keep my cheating to a minimum because I don't like cheating. Not in games like this. So, recap, we killed some cannibals and got paid. So, go to the shop I visited yesterday and purchase the healing potion. Take off my shoes, I'm getting a little warm. Also, hopefully I fixed the audio. I moved the mic closer. My desk setup is kind of cramped right now, so... The morning sun casts long shadows as you make your way back to the general store. The clink of your newly acquired silver, a comforting sound. The shopkeeper, a portly man with shrewd eyes, greets you with a nod of recognition as you enter. Without much fanfare, you indicate the healing potion you eyed yesterday, its crimson liquid glinting invitingly in its small vial. Quick exchange of silver coin, the transaction is complete. The shopkeeper gives a curt nod as you tuck the small bottle carefully into your pouch. A sense of preparedness settling in your chest. With a lighter coin purse but a valuable new item, you step back out into the bustling village. Really? That was only 5... What the This is weird. Make I leave the village and go to the next town. So I guess we'll just continue on then. With the healing potion secured and a renewed sense of purpose, you bid farewell to Elara's mill. The village, though forever marked by the grim events, now bustles with a familiar, comforting rhythm. You pass the mill, the market stalls, and the tavern where you found rest, leaving behind the small settlement and its recent horrors. The well-worn path soon leads out of the village's protective embrace and into the open countryside. Rolling hills, carpeted in vibrant green grasses, stretch out before you underneath the clear morning sky. A gentle breeze whispers through the tall stalks, carrying the scent of wild herbs and distant earth. The sound of civilization fades, replaced by the chirping of unseen insects and the occasional call of a hawk circling high above. The road ahead, a ribbon of packed earth, promises new horizons and the possibility of answers to the questions that still haunt your journey. I continue forward. I forgot I was gonna do a profile. You continue your journey across the undulating grasslands, the sun warm on your face and the breeze a constant companion. The path, though well trodden, shows signs of recent use beyond your own. Bootprints larger than yours and the faint, parallel ruts of a cartwheel are present into the softer earth. They appear to be heading in the same direction as you, further into the expanse. The air remains clear, but a subtle shift in the wind occasionally brings the faint, earthy scent of distant campfire smoke. As you crest a small rise, the endless green stretches out before you, dotted with clumps of darker brush and the occasional solitary, gnarled tree. I continue forward along the path. You press on, following the indistinct tracks. The distant smell of smoke grows stronger now, mingled with the faint metallic tang of sweat and something else. something sharp and unpleasant. The path begins to wind through a patch of taller, drier grass, their golden heads rustling like whispers in the breeze. As you round a gentle bend, the side ahead brings you to an abrupt halt. Ramshackle wagon, its wooden wheels canted at an unnatural angle, lies overturned by the side of the road. Scattered around it are crates and bundles and distinct, unnerving silhouettes of three figures moving among the wreckage. They appear to be rummaging through the spill of contents, their movement swift and purposeful, seemingly undisturbed by the overturned vehicle or likely its owner. I stop and say, you guys up and owner of this vehicle, of this cart. Alright, so I must ask them about this. You stop short of the scene, your voice cutting through the stillness of the grassland. You guys the owner of this cart? You call out, the words echoing slightly in the open air. The three figures freeze instantly, their rummaging ceasing as if a string has been cut. Slowly they turn their heads, snapping in your direction. They are rough-looking men, clad in stained leather and patched tunics, with unkempt beards and eyes. One of them, a burly man with a nasty scar across his cheek, grins, revealing a few missing teeth. Well now, look at the cat dragged in, he drawls, his hand stiffly going over the hilt of a crude, rusty dagger at his hip. The other two mirror his movement, their expressions shifting from surprise to suspicion, then to a glint of predatory interest. The metallic tang in their air suddenly seems more potent. Guess not, I say with a smirk, and then draw my great axe. Alright, let's get into the battle. First one actually having action surge. Alright. My turn. I attack Scar with my great axe, and then use my action surge to attack Knuckles with my great axe. Let's see what happens. Oh, wait, yeah. Going for attack. Oh, God. So... so what happened here is that I nat 1, threw my axe, went to punch the other bandit, and crit. Okay, I just miss. Ooh, I dealt 3 damage. Alright, so I missed. So what happened was, I missed Scar. I killed Knuckles. Knuckles hit me for 3 damage. And then Grub missed me. I attack Grub with my great axe. I crit again? Must not have been for much. It was only for 5 HP. attack Scar with my great axe, attempting to decapitate him. I'll get a bit more. I think I'm just gonna do. I'm gonna get a bit more descriptive. Let's see if it helps. Alright, Darius, your journey through the sunlit plains was abruptly halted by the sight of an overturned wagon and three unsavory figures pilfering its contents. Her confident smirk and drawn great axe immediately set the tone for the resulting conflict. The battle was swift and brutal. You swiftly eliminated Knuckles with a critical strike, though Scar managed to land a glancing blow. Undeterred, you then brought down Grab with another devastating critical hit. Finally, with only Scar remaining, you unleash a powerful, decisive swing of your great axe, bringing a swift and gory end to the last bandits. The plains are now quiet, save for your whisper of the wind, the defeated forms of the three brigands, their crude daggers now useless. You stand victorious amongst the wreckage, the dust settling on a hard-won fight. Loot the bodies, and then check for signs of the cart's owner. Let's see what we find. I'll take some rations. With the brigands dispatched, you move swiftly, efficiently stripping their bodies of anything valuable. You find a meager collection of 21 silver coins, a rusty short sword that might serve in a pinch, some worn leather armor, and a small pouch containing a day's worth of dried meat and hardtack. Spoils are meager, but welcome. Finished with the bodies, you turn your attention to the overturned wagon. The investigation is thorough. You examine the broken spokes, the splintered wood, and the scattered contents. Among the crates is spilled mundane goods, textiles, simple tools, and a few broken pottery shards. You find evidence of a struggle. A distinct silver locket depicting a stylized hawk lies half buried in the dust near a deep scuffed patch of earth. Further inspection reveals clear dragon marks leading away from the dragon, deeper into a thicket of brush to the west. Taken from the brigand's own footprint, it seems the cart's owner was neither killed outright nor escaped, but rather forcibly removed from the scene. I pick up the locket and follow the tracks. Let's go on an adventure. Carefully retrieve the silver locket from the dust. Its cold metal, a small, heavy weight in your palm. Stylized hawk etched into the surface feels smooth beneath your thumb. With the locket secured, you turn your attention to the drag marks, which lead directly into a dense thicket at the edge of the grasslands. Excuse me. The transition is abrupt. The open plains quickly give way to the deeper shadowed embrace of the forest. The tracks are less clear here, partially obscured by fallen leaves and twisting roots, but they are still discernible. A consistent disturbance of the undergrowth, indicating a deliberate, if hurried, passage. The air grows cooler beneath the canopy, and the silence is more profound, broken only by the rustling of your own movements as you press deeper into the woods, following the unseen trail. As I follow the trail, I investigate the open the locket, because I'm kind of curious. As you meticulously follow the faint trail, your fingers fiddle with the silver locket. With a gentle click, it springs open. Inside, nestled beneath a thin, tarnished glass, is a miniature portrait of a young woman with kind eyes and a faint, hopeful smile. Her hair is braided with small wildflowers, and similar to the smaller hawk embedded emblem is visible on the collar of her simple dress. There are no inscriptions, no dates, just the image of a face that speaks of quiet strength and perhaps a distant memory. The trail continues to lead you deeper into the forest, the drag marks still visible, though becoming increasingly faint. The undergrowth thickens, and the canopy above becomes a dense weave of leaves and branches, filtering the sunlight into dappled patches of the forest floor. The silence here is heavy, broken only by the crunch of your boots or dry leaves and the occasional distant call of a bird. Close the locket, put it in my pocket, and continue on following the trail. You gently close the locket, the click a soft echo in the hushed forest, and carefully tuck it into the pocket. Near the young woman remains in your mind, a silent incentive. Your focus returns to the trail, the drag marks now almost swallowed by the ever-thickening undergrowth and the natural carpet of pine needles and decaying leaves. The forest deepens, the trees growing older and more gnarled, their branches interwoven to create a twilight world beneath the midday sun. The air grows heavier, smelling of damp earth and ancient wood. The sounds of the outside world have vanished entirely, replaced by the subtle creaks and groans of the forest itself. You press onwards, your senses alert, knowing that whatever or whoever created these tracks must be clothed. Clothed? It's about to be clothed. Let's keep going. Fuck. The path leads you towards a denser patch of conifers. Their needles form a dark, forbidding wall. Does the path continue further? Drag marks do continue, leading you directly into the gloom beneath the conifers. Forest's floor here is even softer, cushioned by years of fallen needles, making the tracks less distinct but still perceptible. The air is cool and still, carrying the sharp scent of pine. As you navigate through the dense undergrowth, the trees begin to thin slightly, revealing a small, almost hidden clearing ahead. Through the gaps in the branches, you can just make out a flicker of movement and a faint orange glow suggesting a fire. The muted sounds of voices, low and indistinct, also drift on the still air, indicating that your quarry or at least someone is indeed nearby. Sneak up and investigate. See what happens. And, oh, it's a somewhat high DC. And we make it anyways. Even though I don't have stealth. You move with the quiet grace of a shadow, the thick pine needles muffling your footsteps. The clearing opens up before you, revealing a small, rough camp. A meager fire crackles in the center, casting dancing shadows that warp the figures around it. Two men, even rougher looking than the brigands you just dispatched, huddled by the flame, arguing in hushed guttural tones that you can barely discern. Near them, slumped against the gnarled trunk of an ancient oak, is a bound and gagged figure. Even from this distance, you can discern the fine, though now dirt-stained fabric of another merchant's attire. Crucially, a silver chain glints around their neck, and dangling from it is another locket identical to the one you found by the overturned wagon. One of the men gestures emphatically to the bound figure, then to a large, empty sack beneath the fire before making a crude chopping motion with his hand, a chilling implication. Sneak up on one of the bandits and attempt to chop him to. I draw my great axe. I want the bandits attempt to cut his head off. Alright, we should get this. We got it. Let's see. You burst from the dense conifers, a silent, deadly blur. Your great axe, a gleaming arc of steel, descends with savage force. The bandit by the fire, mid-sentence, doesn't even have time to register your presence before the heavy blade connects with his neck. A sickening wet thud, a spray of crimson, and his head is severed in a single brutal strike, his body collapsing in a heap beside the fire, scattering embers. The second bandit, startled by sudden violence, stares in wide horror at his fallen companion. His face twists into a snarl of rage and fear as he scrambles for the crude knife at his belt, his eyes locking onto you. The captive merchant lets out a muffled cry of alarm, struggling against their bonds, the air in the clearing crackling with a sudden desperate tension. Attempt to cut the bandit horizontally in half with my great axe. Let's see if we can do it. I do succeed. I don't kill him though, which kind of sucks. He misses my AC, just barely though. Oof. I strike this same wound with my great axe, attempting to cleave him in two. Alright, we kill the brigand without taking any damage. Darius, your swift, brutal ambush set the tone for this desperate skirmish. With one brigand's head already separated from his shoulders, the remaining thug, enraged and terrified, scrabbled for his blade. He was a picture of desperate fury, but you were swifter. Your great axe, already stained with the blood of his companion, came down a devastating arc. You struck the same wound, cleaving him with sickening finality. He barely had time to register his own demise before collapsing to the forest floor, motionless. The clearing was a scene of cruel captivity, now echoes with the silence of death. Bound and gagged merchant watches, wide-eyed, the fear in their gaze slowly giving way to a glimmer of hope as you stand victorious among the fallen brigands. I take one of their knives and cut the man free. The merchant free. Retrieve a crude yet sharp knife from the belt of the fallen bandit, its hilt still warm from his grasp. Moving swiftly to the bound figure by the oak tree, you slice through the thick ropes, securing their wrists and ankles. The gag is quickly removed, and the merchant gulps in a ragged breath of the pine-scent air. Their eyes, wide and bloodshot from fear and the tightness of the gag, dart between you and the gruesome scene of the two dead bandits. A shudder runs through their body as they slowly push themselves up, rubbing at the red marks of their wrists. They are a woman, her finely tailored tunic now torn and muddied, her face pale but her gaze filled with proud relief, quickly mixed with lingering terror. Were you alone? I ask. Merchant woman, still trembling slightly, takes a moment to compose herself, her gaze fixed on the grisly scene of the two fallen bandits. She swallowed hard, running a hand through her disheveled little hair. Alone? She repeats, her voice raspy from disuse and fear. No, I wasn't alone. my husband, Theron, he was with me. He tried to fight them off when they ambushed us on the road. They knocked him unconscious, dragged him off of the woods before I even knew what was happening. I haven't seen him since. Oh God, do you think? Voice rolls off, her eyes wide with fear, with fresh fear scanning the dark perimeter of the clearing. Look for the merchant. For the merchant. Yeah. Begin to systematically search the periphery of the clearing, your eyes sharp, scanning for any disturbed leaves, snap twigs, or scuff marks that might indicate Theron's forced passage. The merchant, her breath still catching in her throat, hovers anxiously behind you. Your keen gaze soon picks up on a subtle trail leading deeper into the dense undergrowth, distinct from drag marks that brought you here. Following it only for a short distance, perhaps 30 yards, you discover him. Theron lies sprawled at the base of a thick trunk oak, much like his wife was, though he is not bound. He's unconscious, nasty gash bleeding freely from his temple, matting his brown hair with crimson. His breath is shallow and ragged, but he lives. Theron! The merchant cries, a mix of relief and renewed terror in her voice as she rushes forward to his side. Collapsed to her knees beside him, she gently places a hand on his chest, her eyes searching for your face for reassurance, or perhaps for a diagnosis. I attempt to determine if he need attempt to determine the seriousness of his wounds, then treat him as best as I can. Alright, let's see if we can. No, it sucks. You didn't critically fail. You kneel beside Thera, the merchant woman watching your every move with bated breath. You gently probe the gash on his temple, noting its deep depth and the steady trickle of blood. You attempt to staunch the flow with a piece of torn cloth supplying pressure, but the wound seems stubborn, and his breathing remains shallow and unsettlingly uneven. His unconsciousness is profound, and you can't quite gauge the extent of damage beneath the surface. A sense of unease settles over you regarding his condition. While you've done what you can with limited supplies, it's clear he needs more than rough field dressing. The merchant lets out a small whimper, her hope visibly dimming as he watches your unsuccessful efforts. Is he going to be alright? She asks, her voice trembling, her eyes wide with fear. She looks her unconscious husband. We can get him to a doctor soon. Yes. Probably. How far is the nearest village? You meet the merchant's anxious gaze. If we can get him to a doctor soon, probably, you state, trying to sound reassuring despite your uncertainty. How far is the nearest village? She looks up, her eyes still clouded with worry. There's Oakhaven, she replied, her voice a little stronger, about half a day's journey from here. Perhaps if we push hard. Perhaps less if we push hard. It's a larger settlement than Elara's mill, with a proper healer, I believe. She looks at Sarah, then back at you. Can we carry him? I don't know if we can ride. In my head, I determine if he can make it to the village alive. Alright, let's see if we can consider Theron's condition with a grim focus, reviewing the shallow breathing, the persistent bleeding from his temple, and his profound unconsciousness. Your previous attempts at aid were insufficient. He's clearly in a precarious strait. The day journey, even under favorable conditions, would be a strain on a healthy person, let alone one so gravely injured and unresponsive. You weigh the risks, the jostling of the movement, the time it would take, the potential for his condition to worsen without immediate proper medical attention. There are probably echoes in your mind, feeling less certain now. He might make it, but it would be a desperate gamble. Every moment counts. The longer he remains in this state, the more uncertain his chances become, and waiting for him to recover enough to walk or ride seems a luxury you cannot afford. Speed is paramount if there's any hope for him. Shit. Well, how to do it. I open my potion of healing and pour it down and use it to heal him. You uncork the healing potion, its crimson liquid shimmering, and careful trickle a few drops between Theron's pale lips. Moments later, his eyes flutter open, unfocused at first, then slowly clearing as he takes a gasping breath. The gash on his temple seems to knit close before your eyes, leaving only a faint, angry red line. His breathing deepens, becoming steadier. The merchant woman cries out with renewed hope, tears streaming down her face as she cradles his head. Theron stirs, a low groan escaping him, and tries to push himself up. His eyes now fully open, and a flicker of confusion mixed with pain on his face. He blinks, then looks around at the gruesome clearing, his haze sailing on you, then on his wife. Put the locket in his hand and say, "Don't worry, you're both safe now." Shelley placed the silver locket, the one depicting the hawk, into Theron's hand. His fingers, still weak, close around it instinctively. "Don't worry," you say, your voice firm and reassuring. "You're both safe now." Theron's eyes, still a little glazed, focus on the locket, then on his wife, and a wave of understanding washes over his face. He gives a weak but genuine smile, a sense of immense relief easing the tension in his features. His wife, still clutching him, looks at you with profound gratitude, her tears now ones of joy. "Thank you," she whispers, her voice thick with emotion. "Thank you, stranger, you saved us both." He nods weakly in agreement, unable to speak much, but the settlement is clear in his gaze. "Is there enough left of my potion to be of use?" You glance at the now empty vial of the healing potion, its completely drained, every precious drop having gone to Theron's aid. The crimson liquid, which promised vitality, is gone, leaving only the scent of herbs and magic lingering in the air. The vial itself is just an empty glass container, no longer holding any medical properties. I put the vial back in my bag and say, "I'm going to next village if you want me to accompany you." Alright. Tuck the empty vial back into your bag, the clink of glass a small sound in the quiet clearing. You turn to the recovering Theron and his wife, offering a simple, reassuring statement. "I'm heading to the next village, Oakhaven. If you wish, I can accompany you." The woman, her face streaked with tears of relief and gratitude, nodded vigorously. "Oh yes, please," she exclaims, her voice still a little shaky. Theron, leaning heavily against the tree, manages a weak smile and nods. We would be most grateful, stranger," he rasps, his voice still a little rough. "Our wagon is overturned, and we're in no condition to travel alone. My name is Elara, and this is Theron. We are merchants from the city of Silverwood. We owe you our lives." "Thank you." "I can from the other bandits, and we will be off," I say as I gesture them to follow, saying, me off, I say as I go back and loot the camp and the bodies. Take a hand axe, rations, and I'll take all. You give Elara and Thera a reassuring nod, then turn back to the gruesome scene, quickly and officially stripping the two freshly fallen bandits of their meager possessions. You retrieve a serviceable leather armor and a hand axe, 2 more sets of rations, and a water skin, adding them to your growing collection of utilitarian goods. Quick search of their crude camp reveals nothing more of value, only squalid bleeding and discarded remnants of meals. With the task complete, you return to the still recovering Theron and Elara. Ready when you are, you state, your voice carrying a note of quiet authority. Elara helps Theron to his feet. His movement slow and careful. He still leans heavily on her, but the color has returned to his face, and his eyes hold a spark of determination. Together, the three of you prepare to leave the blood-stained clearing, the silence of the forest once again pressing in around you as you begin your journey towards Oakhaven and whatever challenges or opportunities await you there. I follow them to Oakhaven. Alright. We saved 2 people. That's pretty good. Hopefully. You fall in behind Elara and Theron, setting a steady pace that accommodates Theron's still frail condition. The forest path, though well-trodden, is uneven, and you occasionally offer a steadying hand or cautionary word as Theron stumbles. Elara, ever vigilant, keeps a watchful eye on her husband, her gratitude towards you palpable in her every glance. The sounds of the forest slowly fade, replaced by the distant murmur of human activity as the trees begin to thin. After what feels like a long trek, the dense wood finally gives way to open fields, and in the distance, nestled among rolling hills, you spot the clustered rooftops and rising smoke of Oakhaven. I follow them to the village, say my goodbyes, head to a place to sell the leather armor I looted from. Way better. From the bandit. Their path gives way to cobblestone road as you soon find yourselves walking through the main thoroughfare of Oakhaven. The village is larger and more prosperous than the one you recently left, with sturdy timber buildings and a general buzz of activity. Elara and Theron, their face light with relief and exhaustion, guide you towards a bustling marketplace. As you prepare to navigate the crowds, Elara turns to you, her eyes brim with renewed gratitude. We cannot thank you enough, kind stranger. May your path be blessed. Theron, though still pale, manages a heartfelt bow. Indeed, should you ever find yourself in Silverwood, seek out Theron and Elara, the Hawksquill merchants. We would be honored to repay your kindness. We would be honored to repay your kindness. A final warm farewell, they disappear into their throng, leaving them to their own affairs. You make your way through the market, seeking out a likely prospect. You spot a grizzled man with an array of worn goods displayed on a cart. a small sign proclaiming Arnulf Sundries. Approaching him, you present the band's leather armor. After a brief haggle and stern look from Arnulf at the condition of the armor, you manage to, to secure a decent sum for it, adding the clinking coins to your pouch. Alright. Let me... Where's the... Do I have a player's handbook? Yes, I do. Let's look up some prices. This should give us a general estimation of what and how much stuff costs. I find a place to buy some scale mail. Because we do have enough money. After leaving Arnulf's cart, you continue through the village, the clink of your newly acquired silver a comforting sound. Inquire among the villagers and eventually find yourself before a sturdy building with a smoking forge visible through an open archway. A sign simply depicting a hammer and anvil marks it as the local smithy. Inside, the rhythmic clang of metal on metal fills the air. A burly blacksmith, his arms thick with muscle and his face smudged with soot, looks up as you enter. Looking for something special, stranger? He rumbles, wiping his brow with a leather-gloved hand. You explain your needs for scale mail. The smith nods, leading you to a rack displaying various pieces of armor. He pulls down a set of well-maintained scale mail, the metal plates gleaming. After a brief negotiation, a fair price is agreed upon, and you exchange a good portion of your silver for the robust armor. You heft the mail, feeling the reassuring weight of its protection. Right? I'll take it. I almost forgot the quotation marks, so I almost just took the scale mail. I just attempted to take it. Blacksmith, a shrewd glance hides allows hand for payments. Begin to count your silver. Far short of the asking price for the gleaming scale mail. A frown creases your brow as the smith raises an eyebrow. It sounds more potent than any words. Gestures to the armor than your meager pile of corns. The message is clear. Perhaps another time, friend, rumbles, a hint of amusement in his voice. Or perhaps you'd be interested in something a bit lighter on the purse. No. No. I'll make do with what I have. I say as I hand back the scale mail and leave. Fuck. I have 250. It's only 50 in the D&D book. Fuck. Anything I can sell? Not really. Offhand. Shit. Shake your head at a slight sigh escaping your lips. No, I'll make do with what I have, you state, handing the heavy scale mail back to the blacksmith. He takes it without a word a knowing look on your soot-stained face. You turn to exit the smithy, the clang of the hammer on anvil following you out. Back on the bustling main street of Oakhaven, the sounds and smells of the market fill the air. The sun is beginning its slow descent, casting long shadows across the village. You have some coin, but not enough for the armor you desired, and the need for a comfortable place to rest after today's event begins to press upon you. Let's see here. Alright. I find a tavern and rent a room for the night. And take a long rest. The setting sun casts a long orange shadow as you weave through the streets of Oakhaven, seeking a place of respite. Your search leads you to a boisterous establishment with a painted sign depicting a frolicking boar, aptly named the Boar's Tusk. The warm glow of the hearth fire spills from its windows, and the hearty sounds of laughter and music promise a lively evening. Stepping inside, the aroma of roasted meat and stale ale washes over you. You make your way to the bustling counter and, after a brief exchange with the innkeeper, secure a modest room for the night. The wooden door creaks shut behind you, sealing out the tavern's revelry, leaving you in the quiet solitude of your temporary refuge. You divest yourself of your gear, the weariness of the day finally catching up to you. The bed, though simple, offers a promise of true rest. As darkness fully descends and the last embers of the day fade, you drift into deep, restorative sleep. All the trials and tribulations of the day melt away as your body and spirit mend themselves through the long hours of the night. Get up in the morning, put gear back on, and head out in search of a job. The first rays of dawn filter through the small window of your room at the Boar's Tusk, rousing you from deep, dreamless sleep. With a stretch that works out the last of the night's stiffness, you rise and methodically don your gear, the familiar weight of your armor and weapons a comforting presence. The inn is quieter now, the revelers having long since departed or succumbed to sleep. Stepping out into the crisp morning air of Oakhaven, the village is already stirring. Smoke curls from chimneys, the scent of fresh bread mingles with damp earth, and the sounds of daily life begin anew. You make your way towards the village square, a natural gathering point, hoping to find some opportunity. A weathered wooden board, covered with pinned notices, catches your eye near the well. It seems a promising place to start your search for employment. Look for a job befitting of my skills. You approach the weathered notice board, its surface cluttered with various slips of parchment, some flapping gently in the morning breeze. Your eyes scan for keywords: guard, missing, beast, bounty. Most are mundane, offering services or advertising wares, but two notices in particular catch your eye, each hinting at tasks befitting of a man of your martial prowess. The first, scrawled in a hurried, almost panicked hand, describes the escalating events of livestock theft and strange disappearances from farms just beyond Oakhaven's eastern edge. It speaks of shadowy figures and unnatural howls in the night, and offers a substantial reward for anyone who can investigate and put an end to the menace. The second, pinned directly beneath it, is a more formal request. A merchant company seeks experienced protection for a caravan heading north towards the larger trade city of Eldoria, offering steady pay for a week's travel. Mentions the potential dangers along the roads, making it clear that skilled swords are required. Thinking back to let's see here. The town where I encountered the bandits, I take the notice in thing disappearances. Disappearances. Read it and head towards the person who put the notice towards the place notice tells me to go. You pluck the notes regarding the disappearances from the board, the paper rustling softly in your hand. Scrawled words describe a growing unease in the farmlands east of Oakhaven, missing livestock, unsettling noises, and the chilling thoughts of villagers simply vanishing into the night. Grim echoes of your previous encounters with human depravity resonate deeply within you, making this investigation feel like a solemn duty. With the notes clutched in your hand, you make your way through the dwindling streets of Oakhaven, past the last few cottages and fences, until the cobblestone gives way to a dirt track winding through the open fields. The village recedes behind you, its bustling sound replaced by the rustle of tall grass and the distant bleating of sheep. The air here is cleaner, fresher, but a subtle tension seems to hang over the landscape. Farmhouses, once vibrant, now appear hushed and watchful under the midday sun. You follow the path, eyes scanning the horizon, each step bringing you closer to the heart of the mystery. We're gonna end it there because this is kind of a good place to end it. We did some good, and now we got potentially more of those cannibals. So I'm gonna end it here. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed.